Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Bitcoin has had quite a week, I gotta say. Since last Sunday, we were trading down and around here, 26,800 per BTC, and now we're up nearly to $30,000, guys, flirting with that $30,000 price mark, which is a psychological level. I have a feeling once we hit 30,000, we could see more price activity. Of course, we do need to break 31,800 to continue the bullish momentum, to move the market upward. Altcoins will then follow Bitcoin, at least theoretically, that's how it works, since last week. So basically over the last week. Today is Saturday, October the 21st. So this is from last Sunday, October the 15th. We have seen an increase for Bitcoin up nearly 11%. So guys, that is a big price move. Let me throw Bitcoin on the daily here to give you guys a sense of where we need to go next. So Bitcoin, obviously a big mover this week, fueling crypto market positivity. Of course, we're not seeing it in the altcoin market yet. But, this is ultimately what we need to break, though, guys. $31,800, getting up above this former high that we saw back in July. But, guys, we're on our way. Don't know if it's going to be a straight move up over the next week or anything like that. But, even if we do something like this, right, before we start to make our way up, that is more likely the scenario that we'll see. Let's bring up XRP, guys. XRP right now trading in the 50s. So we did see a bit of a move for XRP over the last couple of days because of that most recent verdict from the SEC lawsuit. Right now, XRP is trading at 517.517. Let me throw that on the hourly just to get into the nitty gritty here. So that big move that we saw on Thursday, and then, the same kind of pattern that we generally see when cryptos top after a lot of volatility, basically trying to find its equilibrium here. And, hopefully we don't see that same thing that we saw after the first SEC verdict that XRP was not a security, where we did come right back down into old support. So hopefully we don't see this. Hopefully this momentum can continue and, break new highs along the way. Of course, guys, looking at XRP on the monthly, let's just take a look real quickly on the monthly for XRP. And I'm just going to zoom out here to show you guys what I've noticed as well. So zooming way out here, guys, and I've had the luxury of being in this market for a long time. I bought my initial batch of XRP in and around here after this first pump. This is when I bought my initial Bitcoin, my initial XRP in and around November 2017. Did see this final leg up, did not cash out. I was brand new to the crypto space at that point, and then endured this entire bear market, making our way down, hearing about XRP price targets, starting the Working Money channel, learning a whole bunch of new things about cryptocurrency as a whole, and accumulating other cryptocurrencies. We made our way up here finally to that new high for XRP, $1.96, but it wasn't enough. And I feel like a lot of you guys share that same story. And this is why I'm doing the Patreon. For those of you guys wondering, for those of you guys asking, why do you keep promoting this thing? It's because now is the time to get in the market. If you're going to get in next year or 2025, well, you're on your own. I'm not going to be accumulating then. I'm going to be accumulating now. And I've already accumulated a lot of my personal portfolio, and I've even added a $10,000 plus portfolio where I'm opening up all my trades to you guys. And, some of those coins have even gone lower than when I originally bought them at. So we look at everything, guys, different metrics. I'm going to be completely transparent with the $10,000 plus portfolio, showing you guys what I'm going to be trading in this coming cycle. And just take a look at the XRP chart real quickly on the monthly. Let's just get back to this real quickly here. And if I throw a trend line over the monthly, okay, so looking out very, very broadly, this trajectory is moving only one way. And just take a look at that pattern compared to what we are seeing now. So an extended accumulation phase for XRP. Here it wasn't as long, but an extended accumulation phase for XRP, perhaps resulting in a similar kind of pump. So if you guys want to know my trading targets for XRP, I know I'm not making the same mistake twice. And, if you guys failed the same way, you can find me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. We'll do this together. Michael Branch here posting this. Now, Linda P. Jones came out and said that she's being a little cautious now about the price of XRP. Here's what she said. XRP could see a big dip before the bull market begins. And so, I'm not suggesting that it can't. XRP is ultimately going to move with the rest of the spec market, because we're in a spec market right now. Utility just is not there to command those high XRP prices yet. So she's saying declines from its current price, so roughly 51 cents, before the anticipated bull market could occur. She says here, I would be a little cautious with the thought that the price of XRP is going to go straight up from here. I think there could be a potentially big dip before that. Remember, there are professional traders who trade against the crowd. And then she links a link to the interview that she did with Brad Kimes. I will link this in the description if you guys want to check that out. So just back to this idea here that, even though we are seeing ultimately the grand scheme of things, this trend moving upward, guys, technically there is room, if I zoom in here, there is room to come down. Even if we were to stay above this trend, there is room to still come down 20% before we move back up. And 20% would bring us to about 41 cents per XRP. Not saying it's going to go there, but I know how the community feels when the price does go down. So we should be paying attention to all aspects of this. This is why, guys, I'm changing up my strategy this time around in this coming bull run. So I wanted to thank Michael for posting that. Watcher Guru also brought this to our attention with regards to Coinbase. Now, if Coinbase is stating this, I would tend to listen. Coinbase is confident that a US Bitcoin ETF will be approved after the SEC's court defeat. So because the SEC was defeated in court, this is what Coinbase thinks, or representatives from Coinbase, namely Paul Grewal, their legal in-house counsel. I'm quite hopeful that these ETF applications will be granted, if only because they should be granted under the law. The SEC was recently dealt a major court setback when the judge ruled that the regulator had no basis to deny crypto-focused asset manager Grayscale's bid to turn its huge GBTC Bitcoin fund into an ETF. So, because of this big loss, guys, we are probably going to get a Bitcoin ETF very soon. The SEC last week declined to appeal that ruling by a key deadline, likely paving the way for a Bitcoin-related ETF to be approved in the coming months. So there's all this speculation, the buzzing going around, suggesting that we're going to see this Bitcoin ETF soon based on what is happening in the courts. And it makes sense. Grewal continues by saying, I think that the firms that have stepped forward with robust proposals for these products and services are among some of the biggest blue chips in the financial services. So that's the other thing. It's the JP Morgans, it's the BlackRocks, it's the Fidelities, it's the big players in the space. They already have a relationship to government and the financial markets. So why would they not be approved? So something also to be paying attention to when taking into consideration the crypto market and how it's going to move this coming bull run. So I wanted to thank Watcher Guru for that. Rand Nooner here, also kind of chirping at the XRP community. Why is crypto celebrating the SEC backing out of the Ripple case? All it means is that now the SEC can appeal the case sooner. Previously, they had to wait until the end of the case, but now that they dropped the case, they can appeal immediately. Well, Eleanor Turret replies here, they cannot appeal immediately. They will need to wait until there's a final judgment, which can't happen until the penalty phase is over. This could take months, which means the SEC will not get to appeal next year. So that's an interesting point to make. Eleanor Turret down here even says, in addition, they didn't drop the case, just the charges against Brad and Chris. And Rand Nooner kind of backpedals a little bit here. Yes, this is true, but instead of having to wait until the end of the case with Brad and Chris, that's now off the table, and so the judgment will come sooner, he says. If Gary thinks he may be out next November, he may want to make sure his job is done beforehand. So an interesting perspective there from Rand Van Nooner, who has historically been a XRP skeptic, I guess we'll say. John Deaton also did retweet out Rand Van Nooner's tweet here and said this: although Rand is correct that an appeal by the SEC will happen sooner because the SEC chose to dismiss the case against Brad and Chris because the April 2024 trial will now not happen, it is incorrect to say the SEC can appeal immediately. So that point has been dispelled. The penalty phase of the case must occur first. Let me provide some perspective here. The summary judgment decision in library was handed down on November 7, 2022. The final judgment that became appealable was entered July 11, 23. 8 months after the ruling, the appeal was filed September 7, 23. So during those 8 months, there was additional discovery. So a bunch of different info was filed, okay? In library, the SEC started out wanting $23 million in fines, disgorgements, etc. By the end, the SEC asked for a $130,000 fine. Arguing over $23 million took 8 months. In the Ripple case, we're talking about $770 million. So that's the total penalty, guys. Ripple will argue ODL transactions could be exempt along with legitimate business costs, salary, advertising, travel, insurance, etc. The SEC wants the whole $770 million to make up for being embarrassed, including having to dismiss the bogus charges against the executives they could never prove. So it's more about the money at this point. And so they are going to, take one last shot at it. I will link this in the description if you want to read the full thing. But thank you to John Deaton. He goes on to also say this, okay, the SEC didn't dismiss because it's the right thing to do. The enforcement lawyers recommended dismissal because their bullying and intimidation tactics backfired. So let's not forget the true reason here, okay? Simply put, they were going to be outclassed and embarrassed in the courtroom, just like the Hinman email hearing, where later the judge called them hypocrites and said they lacked faithful allegiance to the law. I will never forget that. Also, Hinman was going to be called as a witness by Brad Garlinghouse's lawyer. Remember, Judge Torres ruled the Hinman emails were most relevant for impeachment purposes on cross-examination. The SEC lawyers, especially the lead lawyer in the case, only like it when the trials are totally stacked against the defendant, with the chances of a defense victory slim to none. But in this case, guys, that did not happen in the end. They did what most bullies do. When you step up to fight back, they backed down. This was easy to see coming. So John Deaton here giving his legal perspective and real life perspective on this. And I don't doubt for a second that it was all about the money. XRP Drops also posting this. A clip of Fred Rispoli here. He was originally interviewed on the Thinking Crypto podcast. If you guys want to check that out, it's Tony Edwards' show. The link is going to be in the description of this video. Check this out.
And we're not going to get an appellate result until September of 2025. I would have said 26 if we were doing the trial. September of 25, that we're not doing the trial. So it's out there, but I mean, think about everything that could happen. And what I'm saying right now with the SEC is they're sitting fat on 770 million right now that they could completely lose and could evaporate into nothing if Ripple, wins on appeal. So there's more for the SEC to lose than Ripple to lose where we are.
So I cut it off a little early there, but ultimately saying that, if the SEC were to push the limits, they may lose that $770 million. So they're really, I guess, focused on that at this particular moment. So I wanted to thank XRP Drops and, of course, Tony Edward from the Thinking Crypto podcast and Fred Rispoli for his response there. Megan here also posting this. Okay, so meanwhile, we've got Ripple in-house counsel talking about how much Ripple is doing around the world despite what's going on in the U.S., preparing for MiCA regulations particularly. This is Stuart Alderati here. Listen to this.
Also established an office in Ireland last year. We have applications pending with the Central Bank of Ireland, both for a virtual asset service provider license and an e-money license. We'll work with the regulator and hopefully satisfy them that we are equipped from a regulatory and a compliance standpoint to operate under their supervision. And hopefully once we get that license, we'll be able to use that not only to operate in Ireland, but to passport that through the EU. We're doing the same in the UK. A few weeks ago, we received our major payments institution license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore. We're hopeful we'll get clearance in Dubai before the end of the year. We have an agreement with the Central Bank of Brazil to do business there. We operate under a regulatory supervision through a joint venture in Japan. So this is the direction of travel for the industry.
Dubai, Japan, Brazil, he was mentioning, and a couple of other countries there. So we know, Ripple has been permeating the entire globe. But in terms of MiCA regulations in Europe, this is, I guess, one of Ripple's big focuses now. On top of hiring software engineers in other countries like Canada and North America, blockchain payments firm Ripple is also hiring software engineers in Canada. So, their strategies to expand globally have certainly not ceased, but also I also feel like they've been doing this to kind of prep and ramp up for what is coming down the pike, okay? Blockchain payments firm Ripple is hiring software engineers in Canada and probably in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken here. Even in the face of 2022's crypto downturn, Ripple sets its sights on expansion. The crypto startup put down roots up north with a new Toronto office last year, if you guys remember when they opened that, aiming to bolster its ranks with 50 engineers. So the SVP of engineering at Ripple said at the time that the Toronto office will play a pivotal role in driving Ripple's innovations from blockchain protocol development and decentralized applications to machine learning and payment solutions. So it looks as though, in terms of what kinds of applications these developers are going to be building, it's going to be a little different. They're looking at probably those other verticals. Below, you'll find that Ripple is hiring engineers to take on a variety of responsibilities in bringing crypto solutions to the mainstream. And so here are just some of the job outlines here. Senior software engineer for RippleNet Payments. I'm just going to read some of the headlines here. Whoops, why did that do that? and Senior Director of Engineering for Liquidity. So I guess not so much for different verticals, but just to be able to keep liquidity moving on the XRP ledger. Of course, that is what is going to help more utility for XRP. The more liquid a crypto is going to be, guys, the more utility it will get because it'll just be more available for so many different applications. So specifically hiring engineers for liquidity, I think speaks volumes. Wanted to thank Ant1 for posting that. We know liquidity is top of mind for Ripple execs like Brad Garlinghouse, XRP Crypto Wolf, posting this article from you today. Okay, Brad has said, okay, on the record, he rejects maximalism, saying that, it's not just XRP that's going to be, a coin that solves these problems. You can use a bunch of different cryptocurrencies. And although he holds a significant portion of XRP, Garlinghouse stressed that there is space for Bitcoin and other digital tokens since they offer different use cases. He emphasized that the company does not exclusively advocate for XRP. We definitely are not maximalists, he affirmed. All right, Brad, you won the court case. You can bring your guard down now. During the discussion, Garlinghouse commented on the recent push by traditional financial firms to file for a spot Bitcoin ETF. These are fairly diplomatic answers. I wouldn't read too much into this. Obviously, he's not going to say XRP is going to be the only coin that rules them all. But even just looking back to this last article here, liquidity, specifically hiring engineers in other countries, specifically for this reason. Liquidity, specifically in brackets, that is your title. That is what you're going to be working on. They aren't maximalists. This is why the XRP ledger is interoperable, obviously. To be able to perform different tasks and to be able to interoperate with other ledgers that will use different coins, many different coins. But the key here that I think a lot of people overlook is the fact that usually, 90, I don't know what the percentage is, I'm just going to throw it out there, but usually a lot of the time, XRP is going to automatically just become the default coin, the default rail that is just most efficient because the XRP crypto is native to the XRPL. So by default, XRP will likely be utilized the most. On the record, though, Brad Garlinghouse saying, of course, it's not the only coin. You can settle many different types of cryptos over the XRP ledger, and even spend the bits. That's a great example of where you can send Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin, the slowest, oldest cryptocurrency, poof, in seconds, over the XRP ledger. So a great use case there, just as an example. And so Brad coming out and saying, many different cryptos are also going to be tokenized. It's going to be a $10 trillion market that's coming, guys, by 2030. So within the next 6 years or so, 6.5 years, give or take. A recent interview of Brad Garlinghouse from the Medico Talks podcast. Here's Flip the Chain with the clip, guys. Listen to what Brad had to say here.
The macro environment around custody digital assets is expected to be close to $10 trillion by the year 2030. And inevitably, people are going to need a place to store those assets, and safe, secure, and they're going to need to be able to transfer them as well, having good on and off ramps, even a tokenization engine, some of the work Ripple is doing around central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. So we think there's a lot of pieces that come together, and we already had, and I remember when you and I first spoke, I remember being on a call with one of the largest top 10 banks in the world, and a bank Ripple was already working with, and they were asking us about, could we help them with their custody? This is prior to the Medico acquisition, and we weren't in a position to do that. And so when we think about that synergy, the ability to say to that existing Ripple customer, hey, here's a best in class, going head to head, time and time again, and winning on the custody level, to be able to bring that product to them, I think is a great opportunity for the two companies together.
So great opportunity for the two companies to work together at that point in time. Ripple had not acquired Medico. So now that they have Medico, guys, I think this opens it up a lot for them. And again, custodying cryptocurrencies, because tokenization is going to be a $10 trillion industry within the next 6 years, according to the CEO of Ripple himself. So how much of that is going to be driven through XRP? Well, they wouldn't be continuing to build on the XRPL if they thought that they had done enough. Now, the Hooks Amendment, NFTs, all that stuff, guys, all that fun stuff that I tend to kind of talk about briefly on the channel. But, again, the tech stuff doesn't really interest me too much. But it is important to note, this is all part and parcel of where this money is going to come from. Even the WEF, yes, the World Economic Forum, just released their NFT taxonomy paper, October 2023, a brand new paper here, guys, from the World Economic Forum, Evolution of Non-Fungible Tokens Insights Report, October 23. So there's a lot going on here. The executive summary talking about NFTs, digital representations of unique assets stored on blockchain. As we know, they gain popularity. So just giving you some background here on what NFTs are. The adoption of NFTs, though, has different maturity levels across industries, with sports, ticketing, luxury gaming, consumer products and goods, retail, and art leading the way in terms of the adoption and development of use cases. So think about this for a second. We brought in NFTs with JPEGs of gorillas and stuff, but that is not it. These are going to be very different types of NFTs, and I still have friends that joke, "Oh, are you going to sell a colorful gorilla with your crypto?" And so I'm like, boy, you really have no clue what's coming down the pike. Let's not forget, these are plebes. These are people who don't get crypto, so more power to them. If you want to stay poor, that's on you. I want to talk about real use cases, though. And so when it comes to tokenization, Brad Garlinghouse saying, the $10 trillion tokenized market within the next half-ish decade, 6.5 years or so, we're looking at collectibles, ticketing, and guys, this is coming directly from the World Economic Forum's website. Collectibles, ticketing, loyalty programs like Starbucks, gaming experiences, digital collectibles. They have the NBA here as one example. Certificate and ownership of authenticity. So anything that needs to be verified, tracked, can be done on the blockchain now through NFTs, non-fungible tokens, sourcing traceability, identity, native art, and royalties. So guys, this is the plan, tied to the physical NFTs, so NFTs related to physical counterparts or experiences, and then purely digital NFTs, only related to the digital environment. Two different kinds of NFTs. I'm sure one day these will merge. And so again, just to remind you, this is a direct report from the World Economics paper from just this month, October 2023. Are you seeing the connection now? Why it's important to listen? When Brad Garlinghouse says a $10 trillion tokenized market is going to be coming through NFTs and other applications on the XRP ledger, guys, we're only just wetting our lips, touching the surface of what is possible. The cryptocurrencies that are going to soar in this spec market may be different than those down the road, but I'm hedging my bets across the board. That's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.